The Adventures of Sam Spade, Detective. Brought to you by Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic, the non-alcoholic hair tonic that contains lanolin. Wild Root Cream Oil, again and again, the choice of men who put good grooming first.
Sam Spade Detective Agency.
Me, sweetheart.
Sam, how did it go?
It was the end, Effie, but the end.
Oh, Sam, not another one of those society things.
Depends on what you mean by society.
Well, you know, Sam, cafe society. Cocktails for two, hands across the table, making another old-fashioned, please.
Let's not lose our head, Effie. Nothing but double martinis, very dry, with 2 olives, sweetheart.
2 olives? Oh, Sam, isn't that overdoing it?
It was all overdone, sweetheart. That's what cracked it. Now, stay right where you are. I'll be right down to mix up my report on the dry martini caper. Get it?
Dashiell Hammett, America's leading detective fiction writer and creator of Sam Spade, the hard-boiled private eye, and William Spear, radio's outstanding producer-director of mystery and crime drama, join their talents to make your hair stand on end with the adventures of Sam Spade. Presented by the makers of Wild Root Cream Oil for the hair. August is always a great vacation month, and for those of you planning to take your vacation soon, let me suggest that when you're packing, be sure you include a bottle and a handy tube of Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic. For no matter where you go, you can always depend on Wild Root Cream Oil to groom your hair neatly and naturally, relieve dryness, and remove loose dandruff. Yes, you can take it with you on your vacation, and you should. Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic. Again and again, the choice of men who put good grooming first. And now, with Howard Duff starring as Spade, Wild Root brings to the air the greatest private detective of them all in The Adventures of Sam Spade.
As an owl.
Wise as an owl, sober as a judge, F.
Oh. Well, the way you talked on the phone, I thought you drowned the shamrock, kissed the Black Betty, spliced the main brace, decorated the mahogany, made a Dutch bargain, or, in a word, gone to give a Chinaman a music lesson.
Effie, I wish you'd spend more time with Harper's Bazaar while I'm gone and less with the thesaurus of slang. Didn't know I could say that. Are you sober?
Well, I've been riding the choo-choo, drinking Adam's ale. And if you don't believe it, just ask me to walk a chalk.
Okay, heelsy-toesy, arms akimbo, eyes glazed.
Yes, sir.
Now then, tip of the forefinger to the tip of the nose.
Oh, Sam, it makes me dizzy.
Dizzy Gillespie?
Dizzy go... Oh, Sam.
Exactly. And you are not sewn up, shagged, shellacked, shickered, stuccoed, tap-shackled, stiffo, or real crazy.
Well, you know best, Sam.
Good. Now try this one.
Yes, Prez.
Sitting posture, limbs cruciform.
What?
Cheesecake style.
Oh, Sam.
That's it. Now place the notebook. Just a little higher. Good. Now apply the tip of the pencil to the top of the fool's cap and proceed viz.
Viz.
Date. August 1st, 1948. To Mrs. Netta Martini, 1000 Marina Boulevard, San Francisco. From Samuel Spade, license number 127596. Subject, Dear Netta. The first I knew of the caper was day before yesterday morning when I saw your husband's picture in the paper. It was one of those lovingly retouched executive-type photographs of a man in his late 40s or early 50s, graying at the temples and wearing an embalmed man of distinction look. The story was headlined, Corporation Head Waylaid by Mysterious Assailant. Chauffeur foils would-be kidnappers at offices of Martini Trading Company. The item under it wasn't as thrilling as the headline. Sounded as if he'd been knocked down for his wallet and the attempted kidnapping had been dreamed up by a bored city news reporter. I tossed it into the wastebasket along with my morning mail and went back to the Police Gazette. On page 3, the phone rang. Unique Garage, Harry speaking.
Mr. Spade?
One moment. Who's calling?
Gordon Martini.
Not Gordon Martini, the corporation head, waylaid by mysterious assailant.
Chairman of the board, and there's nothing mysterious about it.
Then what are you doing on this phone?
I can't talk on the phone.
Where are you? In a hospital?
I left that pest house this morning. I'm at my residence, 1000 Marina Boulevard.
Mm-hmm.
It will take you exactly 20 minutes by cab. You will meet me in front of the building, and we'll have our conference in my car en route to the office.
Where's your office?
Downtown Post Street.
Oh, why don't I meet you there?
I'm a busy man. Have a full calendar. I'm already late due to all that hospital red tape. But I can fit you into my schedule if you'll hurry. Now, look alive, man.
Well, it's a little early in the morning, but I'm trying hard.
Good. What will you want for a retainer?
I'll let you know if I decide to take the job.
Fair enough. 20 minutes. I'll expect you.
I should have looked more alive. It took me 2 minutes to get out of the street, 1 minute to flag down a cab, and 18 minutes to reach your address, Netta. A total of 21 minutes. As my taxi drew up to the curb in front of the canopied entrance to the corner apartment house at 1000 Marina, I saw your husband pacing indignantly up and down in front of the entrance, pausing only to glare at the outsized chronometer on his left wrist. His gray Homburg was perched atop an outsized turban of gauze bandage that decorated his head.
You're Spade. You're exactly 1 minute and 22 seconds late. Hours are made of minutes, minutes are made of seconds. In killing this seemingly negligible interval of time, you have wounded an hour.
Oh, I have? Well, I'm sorry. The traffic's pretty heavy out here this hour of the morning, you know.
You should have started a minute and 22 seconds earlier.
I'm sorry. There was a bore on the telephone, kept talking about how valuable his time was.
Yeah, well, don't apologize. Only waste more time. Now, here's your check, $100. My car's just around the corner. I paid that chauffeur a large salary. We mustn't keep him waiting. In the meantime, you may as well start earning a fee.
I've been earning it for the past 22 minutes and 22 seconds.
Wait. I suspected as much. Do you drive a car?
Yeah, you mean one man drives all that?
I see him, that rascally chauffeur of mine. Sleep in the back seat. All right, come out of there, you.
Hey, watch it! I was behind him and a little to the right. The shock of the rapid-fire 30-caliber slugs lifted him off his feet and knocked him against me. I went down under his 300 pounds of dead weight. By the time I rolled him off of me and got up, the gunman had jumped out of the limousine and into a gray sedan that was double parked alongside. In the welter of traffic on the boulevard, I didn't dare risk throwing a shot after him, but I did get the first 3 numbers of the license plate before it buried itself in the heavy stream of AM commuters. That's when the air changed from exhaust fumes to something out of a Persian garden. I turned and looked for the first time into your Nile green eyes, Netta, and saw you twisting a handkerchief in your pale hands I might have loved beside the Shalimar, but on Marina Boulevard they looked like hysterics dead ahead.
Who did it? You saw him. Don't lie to me. Why don't they come? Where's the ambulance? Why are all those people standing around there staring at me? Make them go away.
Calm down.
Make them go away. I
Take
can't
it.
stand it.
Stop it, will you? That's better. Now, come on over here. Who are you, his wife?
Yes, and it was all my fault. This is the end. I called Ernie out the window and asked him to come upstairs. I wanted him to return some lingerie. They sent the wrong color, peach.
Yeah. Who's Ernie?
He's our chauffeur. I was looking for the exchange slip when we heard the shots. Is he dead this time?
Yeah, don't go to pieces.
Poor Gordon, he had so many enemies. He didn't drink well, you know. People dropped us like flies.
Well, they certainly dropped your husband.
Are you a policeman?
No, but I'll do until the real thing comes along, which is right now. If I were you, lady, I'd go back upstairs and relax. They'll get to you soon enough.
Yes, I suppose you're right. Poor Gordon, he looks so natural stretched out on the pavement.
Yeah.
I keep thinking he'll get up and stagger on into the elevator. He didn't drink at all well.
Go on, will you?
All right, I'm going. Oh, Ernie, where did you go?
Down at the garage. I heard a car driving. Poor Mr. Martini. It's all my fault.
No, Ernie, it's mine if I only hadn't mislaid that exchange slip.
What?
You know, when I called you out the window to come and get that package.
Oh, that.
What do we got here? Who's the witness?
Me.
Oh, Spade. Lost another client, huh?
Not quite. I hadn't cashed the check yet.
Well, they got him anyway. All right, clear a space in there. Let him through with that stretcher. Step over here out of the crowd, Sam. I want to get that statement.
Yeah. Okay, Gary, take it down.
Got a pencil?
Yeah, and I want it back.
Let's have it.
This guy is Gordon Martini.
Mm-hmm.
He headed up a local firm, the Martini Trading Company.
Yeah.
Last night he was working late at his office. Got boinged.
All right.
Phoned me this morning. Didn't know why. Thought maybe he wanted a bodyguard. Anyway, he needed one.
Mm-hmm.
Gunman was crouched in the back seat of the limousine, shoved the carbine out when Martini opened the door.
Carbine, huh?
Didn't get a good look at him. You could see why, the way it's closed in. No side windows.
Foreign car, isn't it?
Stop drooling. You can't afford one. You getting all this?
What about the getaway?
Martini fell on top of me. I saw the getaway car on the back of his head.
Yeah.
The car was a gray sedan. The back of his head was a standard make, too. Only got the first 3 digits of license plate, 5D9.
5D9. Anything else?
Yeah, give me back my pencil. The homicide boys want some help. They know my fee.
Mr. Spade.
This is Martini. Why aren't you and Ernie upstairs getting your alibis shaped up?
Oh, please, I can't face the questions just yet. Would it be legal if I just avoided them till I can collect myself?
I don't know about legal, but it might be smart.
Where can we talk?
What do you suggest?
Well, there's a little cocktail lounge up on Lombard where Ernie and I all... it's just around the corner.
Very handy. Let's go.
Against my mother's advice, I should have listened, but, well, that's why I married Mr. Martini.
Well, that brings us up to 1943, and it's only 11:45.
You're just like him, always holding a stopwatch over my head.
Always?
Well, he drank, you know.
You told me that.
But it's much more important than you think. He often fell down and bumped his head.
You mean that mysterious assailant that waylaid him last night in his office was a double martini?
2 pitchers full before dinner.
2?
Ernie had to carry him up to his office.
Well, what did he go up there for?
Oh, we had an appointment with the vice president of the firm, Mr. Nesbitt. Something had come up, and he wanted Gordon to sign some papers. I don't know what. It wasn't the first time. I waited outside in the car. After Ernie had taken him upstairs, he came back to the car, and we talked.
Ernie has alibis upstairs, downstairs, and all around the house.
Well, then when the others came out and Gordon didn't, Ernie went upstairs to see why.
Others? Mr. Nesbitt and who else?
Mary Callahan.
Secretary?
No, she's an attorney. And if you think everything was legal between those two, well, but after all, who am I to call the kettle black?
Now, what are you trying to tell me? That you got him drunk so they could make him sign some papers? That he got himself drunk so he couldn't write his name? Or that he just got drunk and fell down?
Between you and me, I think she pushed him down a flight of stairs. In his condition, he'd never remember.
Why are you putting the finger on the Callahan dame?
Well, what would you think? She was the last one out of the building.
Why didn't you want to tell all this to the police?
Well, I didn't want to talk about his drinking. Things were bad enough already. That would have been the end.
Well, that's as good an answer as any. What do you want me to do for you?
Prove that she did it and Ernie didn't.
I'll let you take care of Ernie.
Oh, no. I don't want to alibi him unless I have to. He might get the wrong idea.
You mean I've got the wrong idea?
He might think it meant I still care for him, and I don't. I can't stand him anymore. The way he chews those toothpicks. And besides, if his alibi is too good, I might have trouble about that carbine in the back seat of my car.
Pardon me, it sounded as if you said you might have trouble about a carbine in the back seat of your car.
That's what I said.
Where is your car?
In the garage. But somebody had it out this morning. They scraped the fender coming back in, and they ran into the wall. They must have been in an awful hurry.
Tell me, this car of yours, it wouldn't be a gray sedan?
Yes.
License number?
Oh, wait a minute. It's on my keyring. Here, 5D90...
That's enough. Why didn't you tell me this before?
Well, I couldn't get up the nerve. After I heard you tell that policeman the gun that killed Gordon was a carbine, and the gray sedan and all that, well, it's the end.
I hoped you were right, but I didn't think so. When I went to look at the gray sedan in your garage, I knew you were wrong. Dead wrong. It was the getaway car, all right, and the carbine, as you know, was proven later to be the one that killed your husband. But Ernie had turned into a very poor suspect indeed. He was hugging the carpet between the front and rear seats, and when I nudged him, he didn't move. He'd been shot at closer range than Gordon Martini, and the killer had used only one slug. It was planted in the base of his brain, which made him not only a very poor suspect, but a very dead one.
The makers of Wild Root Cream Oil are presenting the weekly Sunday adventure of Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, Sam Spade. If you want the well-groomed look that helps you get ahead socially and on the job, listen. Recently, thousands of people from coast to coast who bought Wild Root Cream Oil for the first time were asked, how does Wild Root Cream Oil compare with the hair tonic you previously used? Better than 4 out of 5 who replied said they preferred Wild Root Cream Oil. And no wonder. Wild Root Cream Oil grooms the hair neatly and naturally, relieves annoying dryness, and removes loose dandruff. What's more, non-alcoholic Wild Root Cream Oil is the only leading hair tonic that contains soothing lanolin. So ask for Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic. Again and again, the choice of men who put good grooming first. By the way, smart girls use Wild Root Cream Oil, too. And mothers say it's grand for training children's hair. And now, back to the Dry Martini Caper. Tonight's adventure with Sam Spade.
Martini Trading Company, good afternoon. I'm sorry, Mr. Nesbitt is in conference. I'll see that he gets your message. Well, what can I do for you?
I would like to see Miss Callahan.
Miss Callahan is in conference with Mr. Nesbitt.
Good. I would like to see them both.
But I have orders not to disturb them.
You do not have to. I will.
Just a minute. You can't go breaking in like that.
Yes, and I'll tell you something else. He won't ever get away with it. Why, everyone in this town knows about your underworld connection.
Why, you doddering old fool, when I get through with you, if you don't go to the gas chamber for Gordon Martini's murder, you'll wish you had.
If I go to the gas chamber, it'll be for killing you, not Gordon.
Oh, you said it. Oh, why didn't I have witnesses here?
Miss Callahan?
Did you hear that?
You weren't talking loud enough. I didn't hear a thing.
Well, come on in here, and I'll tell you a thing or two. Close that door. Now, sit down.
Thanks. I listen better on my feet.
Oh, so you're the detective Netta Martini employed, eh? What's she paying you?
That'll depend on how much I have to do for her.
Well, I'll tell you how much you'll have to do for her. You'll have to make a case against me, and that's not going to be easy.
Why do you think she's out to get you?
Why, indeed. For years, this moth-eaten mouthpiece, this parboiled Portia, has been victimizing poor Gordon, taking advantage of his weakness for drink.
Oh,
Now that she's liquidated him, she appears with 55% of the common stock. Motive enough, eh?
Why,
Well,
you fraudulent old fool. I simply bought up his debts and threw an attachment on those stocks. Unethical, but perfectly legal.
Look,
Why, you're not even a proper thief. You're nothing but a bumbling old embezzler.
Now, listen
You had
here.
to tell because he was going to call in the auditors to look over those books of yours. The Dean of Double Entry, Mr. Spade.
Look, will you save this for the courtroom scene? Now, you've convinced me. You're both crooked. I'll see that you both go up for something. That's a promise.
Oh, Mr. Spade, I gave you credit for better sense. Do you know that this Medusa of the magistrate's court, this harpy of the Hall of Justice,
What?
tricked him into changing the beneficiary of his insurance the very night she pushed him down the stairs?
And you were all in favor of it when you thought you held the controlling interest in the company. Answer that. You see, Mr. Spade, he can't answer that.
Good. I'm glad one of you is temporarily lost for words. Now, I only want to know one thing, and I want a straight answer. And if either one of you starts off on another speech, I'm going to push you into the nearest cloakroom and lock you in together.
Why, you wouldn't dare.
Try me, sweetheart.
Well, what do you want to know about this Amazon ambulance chaser, this Trilby of the traffic court?
Watch it.
Well, what do you want to know?
About Martini's insurance policy. Now, you say he changed the beneficiary. Please answer in 10 words or less. Who was the beneficiary, and who is the beneficiary now?
I'll have to answer that question in two parts. The beneficiary was his wife. He changed it to the Martini Trading Company, a corporation of the state of California.
Thank you, and goodbye, Mary Callahan. And that Netta took the heat off of you for the time being, which made things tough for me, because Callahan and Nesbitt were so horrible I never wanted to see them again, even to testify against them in court. I was sure of one thing. None of you had pulled the trigger of that carbine. There'd been a hired killer behind it, and the way he operated, taking crazy chances in broad daylight in a crowded street, told me an important thing about him. That night, I made the rounds of the joints. At a plant called the Bing Room, I found a bouncer who'd tossed out a customer that run up a bill and tried to pay it with a $1,000 check. He sent me to the Atlas Hotel. The Atlas Hotel is off of 3rd Street down near the railroad yards. Not even a flea bag. The fleas sickened and died a long time ago. They couldn't take it. And from the look of the guests sprawled out in the mission furniture of the lobby, they wouldn't be able to much longer. A half-dead room clerk came back to the land of the living long enough to mutter a room number and wave me feebly toward a flight of crummy stairs.
Yeah, what do you want?
You, Hack Hartman?
Hey, you got anything for me, huh?
Yeah, I got news for you. Get back in the room. I'll tell you all about it.
Yeah. Well, come on in.
Drop the shiv.
Yeah, I'll drop it. I'll fix you. I'll cut you good. I'll cut you.
I'm glad you did that. You make it easy for me. Now get over there.
Leave me alone. Leave me alone. I'm not feeling so good.
You can feel a lot worse. Who hired you to put the burn on Martini?
You don't get nothing out of me.
Who gave you that check?
Oh, leave me alone.
I got all night, Hack, and I feel better than you do. Now, what did you do with that check? I'll shake it if your teeth come out with it. Come on.
All right. Stop it. I don't feel so good.
Okay. Where?
Pocket. My shirt.
Don't reach. I'll get it. There was a company check, which is what I'd expected. It was for $1,000 drawn on the Golden Gate Trust and Loan. But I wasn't expecting to find the signature on the bottom line. It was signed in a bold, firm hand, Gordon Martini. Who was the penman on this?
He wrote it himself. right in front of me.
What was it supposed to be for?
He wanted I should knock off his brother.
You get mixed up?
Well, he's dead, ain't he?
That's what I mean. Gordon Martini's dead.
The papers got it wrong. That was his brother, his twin brother. And that other guy, that chauffeur, kept hanging around the garage so I couldn't get out. I had to burn him, too.
You know what you're saying?
Yeah. I'm making sense. Now get out of here. I'm getting steamed.
Don't let it worry you. I got a nice, cool place all picked out for you. After I turned Hack over to the cops, I did what checking I could on my own at that time of night. As nearly as I could learn, Gordon Martini could never have had a brother, twin or otherwise. He was a first child. His mother died in childbirth, and his father died 1 month later. So I went back to the offices of the Martini Trading Company, glass-keyed my way in, and made a quick frisk of it. There I learned that the signature on the check was indeed Gordon's, but that he had closed out his account at that bank the day he wrote it. I thought about that on the way out to your apartment.
Sam, I've been calling and calling, trying to reach you. I've been so worried. It's the end.
This time you might be right. Fix me a drink.
Well, there's nothing in the house but those prepared martinis Gordon used to drink. Is that all right?
No, but fix me one anyway. Never mind the ice. It's not morning yet, but I hate myself already.
Why don't you just relax and let me get it for you?
I'll relax. You get the martinis.
What happened? What'd you think of Mary Callahan? Isn't she the end?
She's cute. You're all cute.
All of me? How nice. I put ice in anyway. It's nasty without.
It's nasty anyway.
I hope it doesn't make you fall down the way it did poor Gordon.
Thanks.
What? Well, what's the matter? Too dry?
You open this bottle fresh?
Why, yes. What's the matter?
Where are they, the rest of the bottles? Oh, yeah. More of the same. Is this all your husband ever drank?
Yes, gallons of it. It's a special brand. He even took it with him to bars and people's houses. He'd sit and drink them right out of the bottle like a little child. Then he'd be falling down drunk, of course. And that's how we lost so many friends. They dropped us like...
Like flies. Yeah, it was the end.
Who you phoning?
City morgue.
Maxie, Sam Spade.
Sammy, what can I do on you?
On Martini, Maxie, they got around to the autopsy yet?
Yeah, they rushed him through.
Got the report handy?
Right in front of me. Funny thing, Sam. The doc said they should have saved themselves the trouble. He'd have been dead in a week or two without no help.
What from?
Brain tumor. Malignant, it says here.
Any alcohol in him?
None from drinking, Sammy.
What about the head wounds?
Accidental fall due to periodic fainting spells. Part of his condition.
Thanks, Maxie.
Well, what is it, Sam? Were the martinis poisoned?
No, sweetheart. The martinis were colored water.
Why, they couldn't. Well, what made him get so drunk?
He didn't. He was sick.
But, Sam, who killed him?
He killed himself.
But he couldn't have.
He hired a gunman to do it. He planned his own murder.
But that's... Well, why didn't he leave a note or something? He could have ruined us all.
Come here, sweetheart. Put your little head on Uncle Sam's shoulder.
Why, Sam...
That's, just what he wanted you to do. He wanted to ruin you. He let Mary Callahan fleece him out of his interest in the company. He let Nesbitt juggle the books. He let you go your way with Ernie. He let all three of you fix yourselves up with as nice a set of motives for murder as a jury could ask for.
Oh, couldn't have...
The real joker was the check he used to pay off the man he hired to kill him. It bounced. It also proved he'd planned his own murder. But he still has his revenge. Because the insurance that would have kept the corporation from going broke won't be paid off on account of the self-liquidating cause.
Oh, Sam, darling, what's going to become of us all?
Well, Callahan and Nesbitt will probably sue each other to death. You might have to go to work and earn a living.
Well, I have $500. I might invest it in something.
You already have. Here's my bill.
But, Sam, you didn't help me. What? This is the end.
No, it isn't, sweetheart. This is the beginning. Come here. Period. End of the end.
Well, if you ask me, you helped her.
Now, F.
Well, that just goes to show you.
Show what, F?
Man's ingratitude to man.
Hmm?
But what did Mr. Martini have against you?
Why, nothing, sweetheart. He, just needed a smart operator like, Johnny Madero was on vacation.
Sam.
Hmm?
Have you cashed that check Mr. Martini gave you?
Well, Not yet.
Sam, any bartender would know better than to take a check from a man who drinks that much.
F, you haven't been paying attention. He didn't drink. He didn't. I was able to establish that later on. You haven't been listening.
Well, at the time, Sam, for all anybody knew, he was a hopeless drunk. He was, Sam. Oh, you're so wonderful and trusting. But I do wish that you'd understand this. He was a hopeless drunk.
For the last time, Effie, he didn't really drink.
I'll just type this up, Sam, while you call the bank.
I'll do that.
A final reminder, friends. Whether you're going on a long vacation trip or just a weekend to the beach, be sure you've got a bottle and tube of Wild Root Cream Oil tucked away in your suitcase. Do this, and you'll find it's easy and quick to spruce up again after stepping out of the water or off the tennis court. For no matter where or when you use it, Wild Root Cream Oil grooms your hair neatly and naturally, relieves dryness, removes loose dandruff. So at home and away from home, help yourself to handsome hair with Wild Root Cream Oil. And next time you have a chance, ask your barber for a professional application of Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic. Again and again, the choice of men who put good grooming first.
Well, here it is, Sam. I hope it was worth the price of the paper and carbons.
You made carbon copies of that? An unimportant report like that?
Oh, it bounced?
Well, the estate isn't settled yet.
Oh, Sam, you're so wonderful and trusting.
Effie, I am not wonderful and trusting. I am a hard-boiled private eye.
I know. Just a pity there's no money in it.
And I'm also two-fisted.
Sam,
Hmm?
have you ever thought of ceramics?
Of what?
Ceramics. It takes virtually no capital. All you need is a small furnace and some clay. And if you don't have any talent, you can just make ashtrays.
Thanks, I already have one.
Oh, flower pots are fun. You can pot them on a wheel.
And you can pot your hat on and wheel on out of here and also take your furnace and clay.
Oh, I love you when you're so gay and carefree.
I am not gay and carefree.
You are a hard-boiled private eye. Good night, Sam.
Good night, and sue me for your back salary, sweetheart.
The Adventures of Sam Spade, Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, are produced and directed by William Spear. Sam Spade is played by Howard Duff. Lorene Tuttle is Effie. The Adventures of Sam Spade are written for radio by Bob Tallman and Gil Dowd, with musical direction by Lud Gluskin. Gil Dowd directed tonight's broadcast in William Spear's absence. Join us again next Sunday for another adventure with Sam Spade, brought to you by Wild Root Cream Oil. Again and again, the choice of men who put good grooming first. This is Dick Joy reminding you to
get Wild Root Cream Oil, Charlie. It keeps your hair in trim. You see, it's non-alcoholic, Charlie. It's made with soothing lanolin. You better get Wild Root Cream Oil, Charlie. Start using it today. You'll find that you will have a tough time, Charlie, keeping all the gals away. Hiya, Baldy. Get Wild Root right away.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
From Hollywood, it's time now for Edmund O'Brien as
Johnny Dollar.
This is Carl Bush, Johnny.
Yeah, Carl, what's new?
We've currently got a marine insurance headache down here. I don't know if you're interested, but your commission would be fat. I called you because I had a feeling you know Singapore. Is that right?
Yeah, I've been there on a case, and it'll have to be a fat commission to get me back there.
The policy is for $300,000. It covers a cargo that's being delayed out there, a time clause.
What reason do you have so far?
Mechanical trouble on the ship. One breakdown after another.
Accidental, sabotage, or both?
That's what we want to learn. Come on down after lunch and talk it over.
Edmund O'Brien in another adventure of the man with the action-packed expense account. America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. expense account submitted by Special Investigator Johnny Dollar to Tri-State Insurance Company, Hartford, Connecticut. The following is an accounting of expenditures during my investigation of the Yankee Pride matter. Expense account item 1, $1.50 cab fare to your office.
Maritime insurance is a bad gamble at best, Dollar. Looks like we're on the short end of this one.
That I know about. I bet on Notre Dame last Saturday.
You aren't alone. This is a cargo of tin bound for a West Coast plant that's under government contract. Armament. Bearings, I think.
Oh. Well, that's where that time clause you mentioned fits, huh?
Right. They got a deadline, so they insured themselves. The way it stands, if that ship doesn't leave Singapore in a week, we start losing 2% a day on 300,000.
You have an office in Singapore?
Yes, but we haven't gotten any satisfaction from them. I don't know. That far away, you're out of touch.
What's your man's name?
Here, name's Els, Vincent Els. Here's the address.
Yeah. Well, I guess I can get the rest of the dope from him. I'll get out of here as soon as I can get space.
Good. It's been nice seeing you, Johnny. Let me know when your plane leaves. I'll send you a bouquet of bourbon or something.
Expense account item 2, $1,280 airfare and incidental expenses between Hartford and Singapore. In the perverse way of ship and airlines, we arrived with one of Malaya's heavy, muggy dawns, coasting in over haze-hidden native villages, the island-studded harbor, and finally settling on the big keel. I finished customs by 9, napped in my room at the Hotel Europe till 10, and I was in Tri-State's office by 1 p.m.
I'm happy to meet you, Mr. Dollar. Sit down. I trust you had a pleasant trip out?
Well, it's a little too long to be pleasant, Mr. Els, but those airline people do everything they can.
Yes. You've been in the East before?
A few times. Now...
Then you know that the unexpected is more or less commonplace here.
Then what are you driving at?
It's possible that you've come on an extremely dangerous mission, sir.
Oh?
On the other hand, perhaps it's only coincidence. One of my adjusters has been killed.
He was working on this case?
Yes, I'm afraid he was.
What have you done about it?
I've turned the matter over to the police.
Did you mention the situation, the delayed cargo?
I did, but I rather think that they categorized him as an individual rather than as an insurance adjuster.
Who was he?
A young Chinese, Kufo Sun, an intelligent chap. I discussed the matter with him the morning previous to his death. That was 2 days ago. And he told me he was going to visit the ship in question, the Yankee Pride. The men on board said he never arrived.
You don't think his death was a coincidence, do you?
Instinctively, no, but it's true that death isn't rare in some quarters here.
So I've heard. Hey, did this boy of yours leave a family? Anyone I can talk to?
His parents were killed in the last unpleasantness, but there's a brother. They shared quarters.
I'd like to have the address.
Of course. It's in Van Coolen Street. Here you are. I won't bother directing you. Any rickshaw fellow will know where it is. But I believe he's employed by a Dutch concern. Wouldn't be at home till evening.
That'll work out. I want to go talk to the chief engineer of that ship first anyway.
Yes, I suppose you will have to go. I only beg of you to proceed with great caution. The ship is down at the east docks.
I'm in the sack. Come in.
Sorry to bother you, Chief. What's the matter with you?
Blasted fever. Seems like this climate brings it back.
Malaria?
Yes. What do you want aboard?
My name's Dollar. I was sent out here by the company that's insuring your cargo.
What about it?
Well, they're going to start losing money if this ship doesn't get started home in a few days.
Well, there's nothing they can do and nothing I can do. I have a bearing flown to me from Hong Kong. When that gets here, I can pump water into the boilers, and not before.
What do you think about all this mechanical trouble you've been having?
What do you mean?
Well, has it all been legitimate, or could it have been sabotage?
Sabotage? Now, who'd do that?
I don't know.
Well, it hasn't been sabotage. Bearings go and generators foul up without any help. Ask me, I've been nursing them for 15 years.
When do you expect the stuff from Hong Kong?
It's hard to say. People don't work the same out here as they do in the States.
Well, I'll fly up there myself after your bearing if it'll get you out of here on time.
Look, mister, I'm not in any shape to figure out anything now. I'm sick. I'll try and talk to the captain about it. Come back tomorrow. Will you?
Uh-huh. Sure, Chief. I know. That fever's rough. After dinner that night, I rickshawed towards the address of the dead Chinese adjuster. I crossed over the Singapore River, which winds through the city to separate the native and European quarters, and entered Bencoolen Street. It was jammed with its people outside to take advantage of the breath of coolness that comes with night.
We're here, Tuan.
Good. Which door?
At point.
Good.
You go some other place, Tuan. I wait.
All right, you wait. Are you Mr. Koo?
Who asked?
I'm an American. I want to talk to you about your brother.
I will not talk. Why do you come here?
Well, I'm working for the company where your brother worked. I came all the way from America. Why won't you talk to me?
You speak the truth?
Yes, I have no reason to lie.
You come then. You heard in America about my brother?
No, but I'm here in Singapore to do the same job he was doing when he was killed. I wondered if there was some connection.
Connection?
Was he killed because of what he was doing or for some other reason?
I do not know. I did not know what he was doing.
Are you telling the truth?
Yes.
What are you afraid of? Why did you tell me you wouldn't talk about your brother?
I do not want to die.
Why would you die? Did someone tell you that you would if you talked about it?
Yes. I cannot tell anything because I know nothing. That he will not believe.
Who? Come on, you can trust me. I promise you I won't mention a word of this.
He who came here before the police. I told him that my brother and I speak of other things, not work. But he made promise that I die if I speak to police.
Who was this man? Did you know him?
No, I have never seen him.
Was he Oriental or Occidental?
English. He would do low work, I think. The work of frightening people for some other.
And you're sure your brother didn't say anything about his work the night or day before he was killed, huh? Anything about a ship named the Yankee Pride?
Nothing. I have spent many hours remembering his last words to me. He spoke only of one new thing. A woman. With Forsoon, there was always new woman. With this one, he was filled with pride and excitement. She was Malayan. Perhaps she brought him death.
The man that threatened you, did he ask you about her?
He asked me everything that had been talked of, but I was frightened and did not mention her.
Do you know her name or where I can find her?
You will keep the secret?
Well, I'll lie about when I got here. I'll tell her I talked to your brother that night before he died.
Her name is Randi. There's a place of an Arab in Malabar Street. It is called Billy Parker. That is where he spoke of finding her.
All right. I'll see if I can.
Please. Korsoon's death is a very heavy sorrow. But my death is in the future. Do not come back. To speak further of this would be to waste the future.
I won't come back, Mr. Cole. Thanks for the help you've given me.
Goodbye. Wait one. You go other place now.
Yeah, I go other place. Malabar Street. Billy Parker. You know that?
I know, all right.
I didn't bother to go back. The crowd surging around the door I'd come out was enough to tell me what had happened. The future that Mr. Koo had been so anxious to protect had just ceased to exist.
In just a moment, we'll return to the second act of yours truly, Johnny Dollar, starring Edmund O'Brien. But first, are you ready to sing it again tonight? You'll find a whole hour full of the day's popular music sung by Eugenie Baird, Alan Dale, Bob Howard, and the Riddlers. You'll hear the tuneful riddle songs that lead to Sing It Again's Phantom Voice Treasure Trove. $5,000 in cash and $10,000 more in wonder prizes. Be listening again to Sing It Again tonight when it comes your way on most of these same CBS stations. The Phantom's a puzzler, but some CBS listener will win that $5,000 in cash. And now with our star, Edmund O'Brien, we return you to the second act of yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Telephones are still at a premium in the native quarters of Singapore. I wanted to report what had happened to Vincent Ells and tell him where I was going and why. So I tried to find one, but couldn't. The joint called the Beeley Parker was a mixture of nationalities, languages, and tobacco smoke. I spotted two Occidentals as I went in. They ignored me, so I ignored them and elbowed a place at the bar.
Hello, boss. What do you drink?
Any scotch?
Oh, yes, sir. That's good scotch.
I'll take one. Don't mix it. Hey, I'm looking for a girl named Rondi. She here tonight?
Rondi? You go table. She serve you, boss. You pay her.
Right.
Rondi! Rondi! Come quick.
I am Randy. You got a drink for me. Is all right?
I'm glad you did. Sit down.
Why did you ask for me?
Well, a friend told me about you.
You sound American. Are you?
That's right.
I know some Americans.
Did one teach you to speak English? You speak very well.
No, they do not teach me that. I learned from missionary school in Penang. You are surprised?
I didn't know it showed.
Everybody is surprised that Randy went to school. Some American friend told you about me?
No, he was Chinese. His name was Ku Fo Soon.
Ku Fo Soon. He is no friend of mine. He's full clerk. He told you about me?
A couple of afternoons ago. Said he was coming here to meet you.
He wanted to meet me, all right, but I did not want to meet him. He made fool of himself.
That would be easy.
What did he say about me?
Oh, that you were beautiful, and that he was looking forward to seeing you.
He said that because he was lonely. I know about men. That's why you think of me tonight? Because you are lonely?
As a matter of fact, I am.
What is your name?
Dollar, Johnny Dollar.
You tease me.
Well, I'll admit it has a ring to it.
No. I tease you. I know the name. In Penang, my father worked for a steamship line with that name. Are you in shipping business?
No relation. Shall we get rid of the scotch?
How do you say? Bottoms up.
That's right.
I think I like Ku Fo Soon better now.
What do you mean?
Because he told you about me. I get tired of these people. I like to talk to you.
Randy, you come work.
Oh, work. Will you wait for me?
Wait for you?
Only a little while. Then I stop work. You come to my house. We can talk some more. Please, you wait.
Rondi, are you lying to me, or don't you really know that Ku Fo Soon is dead?
He is dead? I only knew him that one time. Not as well as I know you. How should I find out? Why should I lie to you?
Because the chances are that you're the last person to see him before he was killed.
How do you know that?
Because he was on his way to meet you, and he never came back.
There are many places to go in Singapore.
Yeah, but it all keeps returning to you or that place. Fu Soon's brother was shot right after he told me about you.
I did not know he had brother. Johnny, I do not want to talk to you like this.
I gave the name of the place to my rickshaw boy. Somebody overheard it. And the shooting took place right after we left. Why would somebody want to keep me away from you?
Nobody wants to keep you away from me. You are frightened?
Ah, that's past. If they'd wanted to kill me, they would have by now. Why did you bring me here?
I thought you understood. You are in trouble. Why don't you tell me? To listen to you, I would help you.
Forget it.
That would be better. I will help you forget, too. I'll make a drink. Pie. You like pie?
Sure, anything.
Do not think about your dead friends, John. You cannot help them now. You think of me.
What else?
Easy now. Easy. Sorry to interrupt. Hey, keep your pistol on him, Roy. Right. While I find out if he's got one.
He's not armed.
Ah, well, you should know, dearie. Well, now, ain't you going to get up?
I don't see why I should.
Because we're going for a little drive, that's why you should. Are you coming like a gentleman or otherwise? Roy! Yeah? Oh! Dollar. What do you make of this? You go to sleep in a river shack, you're not careful now, stay on your feet, and you wake up on the threshold of a blasted mansion. You give me a hand, Roy, he can't hold his feet yet. All right. You know, you're an important man, Dollar, but don't get big-headed. There's them that's more important. Major, here we are.
I'm in the library. Come along.
Right you are. Go on, straight ahead.
What on earth have you done to him?
He was quite violent, sir.
Yeah, help him to the chair. I'd hoped this wouldn't happen, Mr. Dollar. Let me look at you.
Don't bother. You'll get a foot in the face if you get close enough. I promise you that.
Oh, I see. It's obvious that you fancy yourself a difficult man to deal with. But let me share a simple truth. You will accomplish nothing here until I allow you to.
Those are strong words.
I have the power to support them. I know all about you, why you're here. My chief engineer will see that the Yankee pride does not move until I give the word.
And when will that be?
When I am ready to leave for Mexico.
You're crazy. That ship isn't going to Mexico.
Oh, yes, it is, Mr. Dollar. Because I have paid well for passage there.
You don't buy ship's articles. The Yankee pride says she's going to San Francisco.
One can buy anything with sufficient funds. The simplest are the petty official signatures needed to make these changes. You'd be amazed at how easily eyes are blinded and ears deafened. You don't agree with me?
Up to a point.
I understand. You think that I brought you here for the purpose of bargaining with you? There's no need for that.
Why am I here?
Because I enjoy my power. And at the moment, I'm fighting you and your stumbling, idiotic methods.
You're proud of your own? What kind of power did it take to bring off the murders of the Koo brothers? I'm not impressed.
You will be. I'm going to let you go on with your investigation because you're a harmless pipsqueak.
Thanks.
How much money will your company lose by further delay?
2% of $300,000 for each day over schedule.
Well, please convey to them my thanks. And tell them I shall cover their loss. They won't attempt to prosecute. You may go. Earl and Roy will drive you wherever you wish them to.
I retreated to my hotel room. But I knew one thing about him and thought I knew something else. His name, as spotted on an envelope on the way out, seemed to be Major Ralph Dixon, and I had a strong feeling that his weakness was his strength and vice versa. The man was power mad. In spite of my exhaustion, frustration didn't let me sleep too well through the rest of the night. This is Dollar.
Well, I'm glad you phoned. I worried about what might happen to you last night.
Well, don't think for a minute that it didn't happen. What do you know about a Major Ralph Dixon?
Ralph Dixon?
Yeah.
Why, nothing. Who is he?
Well, he boasts that he's the man behind our trouble. He's crazy, and I really mean that.
Oh?
He claims that he's bribed everybody concerned with the Yankee Pride sailing, including port officials.
Mr. Dollar, you sound serious.
I believe him. Look, you have better entree here than I have. Would you see that you can learn something about the ship's papers being changed to include a Mexican port?
Oh, there was no Mexican port, I know that.
Well, he says there is. And see what you can learn about his visas and passport. And you might even check customs. He's holding the sailing up for something.
I say, what are you going to be doing?
Well, I'll start at the other end. I know my way around the bottom. Hello, Randy.
I did not run away, did I? I knew you would come back here.
You aren't afraid of me, but you will be. Right now, you're afraid of the Major, and I don't blame you. 2 men were killed to keep you and the rest of us pawns afraid.
Yes, I'm afraid of him. Many people are.
You and 1 or 2 others are going to have to protect him by taking the blame for those 2 murders. You know that, don't you?
Said there would be no trouble.
That was before I came to town. I say there is going to be trouble. Because I'm going to turn you in. And the Major is so powerful that nobody will believe you when you tell the truth. You'll pay for it all.
I believe that.
Well, don't you want to help yourself if you can?
Why? You know his power.
Not like you do, and I don't want to. I think he's crazy. And if I have to, I'll kill him.
What can I do?
Tell me what's behind it.
Gold. From an inland sultanate who is afraid of invasion. They send their gold out when they can. The Major is making the arrangements.
How much, do you know?
I've only heard. Almost 100 million.
American standard?
Yes, American. It has been delayed in its journey here. What can you do against power like that, Johnny?
If we can get high enough, we'll break him. The man I'm working with on this is checking every official the Major claims to have paid off.
How do you know that?
What do you mean by that?
You are speaking of Mr. L?
That's right.
He is only a human being. He is as greedy as any of us. I do not think he is asking questions.
He's been bought, too, huh?
Yes.
You, the captain, the engineer, the officials, L.
You too, Johnny. If you were wise.
Did they tell you to say that?
It does not matter. Yes, they did. They told me to warn you.
I'm glad to hear that.
Why should you be glad?
Because it means he's afraid of me. What else were you supposed to tell me?
Only about Mr. Ells.
Yeah. Mr. Ells is as good a place to start as any. A check on the tri-state office told me that Ells had left for home, so I followed him there. It was a cottage set back from the street. No one answered my knock. Through the veranda window, I could see why. Vincent Ells was sprawled on the floor, a pistol just beyond his outstretched hand. On the way to Major Dixon's, I stopped at my hotel long enough to get an automatic out of my luggage.
Well, what do you...
What's the meaning of this?
I just left Vincent Ells' house.
Oh, yes. I've been advised that the poor man took his own life. Perhaps you can profit from his act.
I think I can. What happened? Did he turn on you?
Let us say that he didn't appreciate his position with me. He miscalculated my strength. Naturally learned there was nothing left for him to live for. How have you fared?
I've done all right. I've finally realized that there's only one way to stop you.
Oh? And, what is that?
To kill you. Have you thought of that?
Oh, see here. I'm a man of influence. You'd not be rewarded, you'd be prosecuted.
I think you're a man of influence only in your own mind. Your influence is due partially to money, but more to fear. Els turned on you and you killed him. The girl Rondi would if she weren't afraid.
Ah, but she is.
She wouldn't be if you were dead. I want you to come with me.
And where would we go?
Down to the police commissioner, where I want you to list every bribe and killing you've been involved in.
Ridiculous. I have an appointment at the club. You'll pardon me, I'm sure.
I know about the gold, Major.
Oh, you do you? What do you propose doing about it?
I'm going to stop it.
You?
Don't try to leave, Major. Major!
You stupid little fool.
I didn't kill him. As it turned out, I didn't have to. Police investigation of the shooting brought out all the truth. The gold was confiscated when it arrived, and after 3 days of questioning, I was released. Remarks? You may lose 2 days on the Yankee Pride schedule, but to balance that, you also lost Mr. Els, an agent you can do without. Expense account item 4, $300 miscellaneous. Expense account item 5, same as item 2. Expense account total, $2,686. Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, stars Edmund O'Brien in the title role and is written by Gil Dowd with music conducted by Alexander Courage. Edmund O'Brien may soon be seen in the Paramount Pictures production Warpath. Featured in tonight's cast were Virginia Gregg, Bob Sweeney, Tudor Owen, Bill Johnstone, Wally Mayer, Jack Crucian, and Ben Wright. Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, is produced and directed by Jaime Del Valle. This is Bob Stevenson inviting you to join us next week at this time when we'll again bring you Edmund O'Brien as
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
There's Saturday night fun with the younger married set when Lucille Ball and her favorite husband come along later this evening on most of these same Columbia stations. Now stay tuned for Vaughn Monroe's Caravan, which follows immediately on most of these same CBS stations. This is CBS, where Hopalong Cassidy rides every Saturday night on the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Michael Shayne, you must have some idea why Judge Thorman wants to see you.
Honey, at 3 o'clock this afternoon, I received a letter signed by those men who head Judge Thorman's campaign committee.
Mm-hmm.
It told me literally nothing, darling, all of which I was warned to keep hush-hush.
Oh, confidential stuff, huh?
Mm-hmm, very. I'm requested to appear at Judge Thorman's home at 7 o'clock tonight. I don't know why, darling. That's all the note had to say.
Oh, it's about 4:15 now.
Uh-huh. Which means you must curb your curiosity for 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Oh, then I'm going?
Well, it's not your company I love, sugar. It's your shorthand.
Well, I'm glad to know something about me attracts you. Michael, do you know Judge Thorman?
No.
Oh. Well, then Judge Thorman must know you. Otherwise, why should he...
Take it easy, will you, baby? Please, we'll know at 7 o'clock tonight.
The Hastings Manufacturing Company and the K-Side Corporation present Michael Shayne, Private Detective, starring Wally Mayer and Kathy Lewis. At approximately the same time, Shayne and his blonde assistant Phyllis Knight are discussing the mysterious note summoning Shayne to Judge Thorman's home at 7 o'clock. Mysterious events are shaping themselves in Judge Thorman's study. The judge is conversing with one of his committee men. Eating at the club tonight, Judge?
As usual, but not until after the meeting.
By the way, has this Michael Shayne fellow been contacted?
Yes, a note was sent asking to him to be here tonight at 7.
Oh, good. He comes highly recommended.
Yes?
If I didn't know you were one of my best friends, I'd say you didn't particularly care whether we ever find out who's making these silly telephone threats against my life.
I was just thinking of this Michael Shayne fellow. I don't think he'll be much help.
Inspector Coyle and Chief Randall assured me he was as capable an investigator as we
No
could
doubt.
find.
I'm afraid Shayne will be too late.
What the devil are you...
I made those calls, Judge.
You? What sort of stupid joke is it?
It's neither stupid nor a joke, my dear Judge. Do you remember Carlton Winters?
Winters? Well, yes, Carlton Winters, a forger. I sentenced him 16 years ago, it was. What of it?
You won't know my face, Judge. But look at the hatred in my eyes, and you'll see Carlton Winters.
But
You've known me as your friend for 10 years. Yes, it's taken me 10 years to ready myself for this moment. These hands you felt so sorry about. I deliberately crippled them so that I could be that much surer of my revenge. This face.
Yes. I see it now.
You see the man you sent away for forgery. The man whose wife later divorced him and married Paul Redfern. You took everything from me.
You were guilty.
That makes little difference. You enabled Paul Redfern to take Estelle from me. I vowed I'd pay you off, remember? It'll be over quickly, Judge, quickly. The suicide note is ready. I have your own gun.
Suicide?
Only to outward appearances, Judge. It'll really be murder.
Wait, get that gun away from my head, you fool.
No, Judge. Not when I waited 10 years for this.
All right, let's go over the facts, Inspector. Phil, take notes, please.
All right. And incidentally, I copied those statements from Detective Johnson's notes, Mike.
Oh, fine, thanks. Well, Inspector?
Well, the judge's wife, dead 5 years. The married couple acted as Judge Thoman's cook and body servant. Missed the day off. I checked, and they've been at a relative's home all day. Usually on Wednesdays, the judge had dinner at his club. Missed tonight, as there was to be a meeting here at 7.
Yeah, that's right. Something about tracing crank calls. Say, these 3 men on the committee, there was Thomas Charles Hart.
Yes, he's a retired businessman from the East.
Oh.
Horace Epperly, big construction man. Paul Redfern, ex-prosecutor.
Incidentally, all 3 of their alibis aren't worthy of the name. Not one of them can prove where he was between 4 and 5.
Well, now, go easy there, Shayne. They're all big men. It's suicide.
Yeah, so the note says, but I still don't believe it. Mr. Epperly found the body, huh?
Yeah, about 6:30. Came in when he found the door open.
Open? Open or unlocked, Inspector?
Oh, sorry, unlocked.
Oh, uh-huh.
Now, look, Shayne, let's not make a mystery out of this yet. The judge is big people, and I'm here only to make sure there was nothing funny.
Well, that's excuse enough to look around. The gun has a corrugated handle, so that eliminates fingerprints, right?
Right. But there are powder burns on the right temple, and the bullet ranged slightly upward. That and the note stack up to suicide.
Yeah, but that note. How does it read again?
Here's the note. Yeah. My guilt hangs heavy on my mind. I can no longer face my friends. Some years ago, I sent an innocent man to prison.
Wait a second. Give me that line again, Inspector.
Some years ago, I sent an innocent man to prison.
Okay, that's enough. Handwriting been identified?
Yeah, by Hart, Epperly, and Redfern.
You know, for a fellow of the judge's caliber, it's pretty dramatic stuff.
Well, people hopped up to suicide are psychodramatic. What's that about putting the neurosis on paper?
It makes bad reading, that's all.
Oh, Inspector.
Oh, come in, gentlemen.
Thank you. Glad to find you still here.
We've agreed this terrible thing must be kept quiet as long as possible.
Gentlemen, this is Michael Shayne and Miss Knight. Hart, Epperly, Redfern.
How do you do?
About keeping this affair quiet, Inspector.
Well, perhaps for a day or two.
We haven't much chance to keep the facts covered up.
Gentlemen, please, may I ask, did any of you know about the judge's suicide desire?
He never discussed such a thing with any of us.
But all the evidence points to suicide, Mr. Shayne.
Yes, if we can believe that note, but I'm not so sure.
Then you're thinking it might have been murder?
That's what we're going to find out. In the meantime, Inspector, I want to run out and have a little talk with Joey Peller.
Yeah, good idea.
Peller? Peller, isn't he the man with a remarkable memory?
Yes, Mr. Redfern. And I want him to jog my memory.
Yes, what do you want?
Mr. Feller?
Yes, who are you?
A friend of Michael Shayne.
Oh, come in. Take a chair. Sit down. Don't mind if I squat here in this rocker. Easy on my back.
Not at all. I'll stand because I can only stay a moment. Mr. Shayne suggested I see you. I want some information.
Yeah, what do you want to know?
Mr. Feller, do you recall a rather sensational case about 16 years ago when Judge Thorman sentenced a forger, Carlton Winters?
Winters. Let me see. Yep. Mm-hmm. Quiet and uproar. I think I recollect that Winters second Judge Thorman's life. Yes, and Redford, too. He was the prosecutor.
Very good. Anything else, Mr. Feller?
Anything. Huh? Yes, I do. Never heard anything more about Winters, but I think he was killed or died in an accident in Chicago. Thing I'm thinking. Yep. Mm-hmm. I got it.
What, Mr. Feller?
About 3 years after Winters was sent up, his wife, Estelle was her name, I think. Well, she divorced him, and believe it or not, she married Paul Redfern. Yep, and Redfern retired from public office right after that.
You've been a big help, Mr. Feller.
I'm always glad to help Shayne's friends. Anything else, Mr. What's your name?
You won't need it, Feller.
What you doing with that knife?
You know too much, Mr. Feller.
If you are like most car owners these days, you're looking forward to the day when you can get a new car, and the chances are that day is still quite a long way off. Meanwhile, it is false economy for you to cheat yourself out of good car performance and to take chances on a serious breakdown. Just drive your car into a good repair shop and get a professional checkup. Your serviceman may find, for example, that your piston rings are worn out. That worn-out rings alone are causing oil waste and the loss of pep and power. In this case, what you need is to replace your piston rings with Hastings piston rings. They stop oil pumping, check cylinder wear, restore engine performance. So whenever you need new rings, it will pay you to get Hastings piston rings. They're tough, but oh so gentle. Tough on oil pumping, gentle on cylinder walls. Now remember that name, Hastings piston rings. The best money you can spend on your car. Now back to Michael Shayne, private detective. It seems that Shayne had decided on a step in the right direction when he decided to have Joey Feller jog his memory. But it also seems somebody is just one step ahead of Shayne. Shayne and Phyllis Knight arrived at Feller's home only to find the man with the remarkable memory stretched out on the floor with very little of either life or memory left. Now at Police Hospital, a tense group waits at Joey Feller's bedside.
How is he, Doctor? Well, he has a chance, but it's slim. He's coming out of it again. Keeps going in and out of a coma.
Joey Feller.
Yes.
Joey, this is Mike Shayne.
Shayne? Nice friends you got.
What? Nice friends?
Michael, whoever tried to kill him must have used your name.
Is that what happened, Joey?
Didn't know him, though.
Joey, take it easy. Listen. Do you remember anything about a Judge Thorman case?
Yeah. That's what the guy wanted to know. Told him Redford prosecutor said forger. Called him at this. When he died, he called him. Said he had Thorman.
Joey.
Sorry, Inspector. He's gone out again.
Oh, poor little guy.
Stay with him, Johnson. Catch anything he mumbles, call me on it right away. Let the newspaper say Peller's dead. That'll protect him.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
It's a great night. A little over 3 hours, one dead, one well on the way.
Look, Inspector, Mr. Hart, Epperly, and Redfern knew I was on my way to talk to Peller. They've got a few questions to answer.
I know what you mean, Shayne, but they're big men, and we've got to be right.
Yes, but... Well, now, look. We've got to get every police record on this Carlton Winters. Samples of his handwriting, his fingerprint record.
According to Peller, the guy's dead.
Well, let's check Chicago and make sure he's dead.
Well, let's get on it right away.
Well, you take that end of it, Inspector. I want to talk to Paul Redfern. I'll be at his home.
What's the time?
About 10, Paul. Gives us time to check up on our theory at Peller's place. Then get back to your home by 11 to meet the others.
Well, just what is this theory you've got on Peller's death?
I'm positive someone was interested in silencing Peller before the Shayne fellow could get to him.
Yes, but what do you expect to learn at Peller's place? Hey, wait a minute.
What?
How'd you find out Peller was killed?
Shayne got in touch with me.
Oh. Well, who does he think is guilty?
He thinks it's one of us.
Us? Are you serious, Hart?
Yes, Redford. And I'm also Carlton Winters.
You're... What did you say?
I said I'm Carlton Winters. And I'm going to kill you.
Kill me?
Just keeping a promise I made you long ago, in court.
But Winters died in Chicago.
No, he didn't. Steady on the wheel. Don't take your eyes off the road.
Then you killed Jack?
Yes, I killed him. Now it's your turn to be a suicide. Then can you guess who follows you?
You mean my wife?
Yes, Redfern, Estelle.
They'll get you.
If they do, it'll be too late.
How am I to die?
Oh, it's rather simple. The hairpin turn is up ahead. We'll soon be on it. You're going to drive straight through the guardrail and down into the canyon.
You can't force me to do that.
You'll have nothing to say about it, Redfern. You'll be dead before you take the plunge.
I'll crash the car first.
You thought of that too late. I'm ready now.
I hit you.
Now, hold the wheel steady. Steady. Get the door open. Now. $200 down. In flames. A fitting tribute to you, Mr. Redfern.
I'm terribly worried, Mr. Shayne.
No, I wouldn't let it get you down, Mrs. Redfern.
But he's always so punctual, so thoughtful. Naturally, he was quite upset when he came home with the terrible news of Judge Thorman's suicide. He left again, but he promised to be home no later than 10. 10:45 now, and he hasn't even called.
But don't worry, Mrs. Redfern. I'm sure he'll be coming home any minute now.
So I hope so. Somehow I'm terribly nervous.
Mrs. Redfern, I'd like to ask you several questions.
Yes?
Well, first, have you ever heard your husband speak of a man named Carlton Winters?
Carlton Winters?
Yes, Mrs. Redfern. Name seems to surprise you.
Well, I'm not sure why, but it did surprise me.
Winters was prosecuted by your husband and sentenced by Judge Thorman about 16 years ago.
Yes?
Well, Winters was supposed to have died in Chicago. An accidental fire in a doctor's office.
Yes, that's why I showed some surprise, I'm sure. I remember Paul telling me Winters had died in Chicago.
Must have been rather important, Winters' death, I mean, for you to have remembered, Mrs. Redfern.
It was important this night. You see, Carlton Winters had threatened the lives of Judge Thorman and my husband. I was glad to know the man was dead.
And that's all you can tell us, Mrs. Redfern?
That's all, Mr. Shayne. May I ask if your questions concern only Judge Thorman's death?
Well, yes, they do.
But Paul said the judge had committed suicide.
The pattern has changed. We're not convinced of that now, and we need all the information we can get.
So if you know something you feel Mr. Shayne should know, please tell him, Mrs. Redfern.
No, there's nothing more I could tell.
I'm going to be brutally frank, Mrs. Redfern. You're withholding something.
Mr. Shayne, Oh, that's my door. Would you excuse me, please?
Michael, do you really think she's holding back something?
I'm positive she is, honey.
Do you really think it's one of the three men?
Well, I'd be a lot surer if I knew what the inspector found out about their alibis, about the handwriting. Any one of them could be our men.
Which one?
Take your pick, sugar.
I'll take you.
And what would you do if I... Oh, Mrs. Redfern.
Mr. Shayne, Miss Knight, there's Mr. Hart, Mr. Epple.
Yes, we met earlier this evening.
They've come here to meet Paul. They would have a meeting here at 11 o'clock.
Oh? Why a meeting?
Well, to discuss what should be done about the party policy now that Judge Thorman is dead. There's quite a bit to be settled.
Mm-hmm. Have either of you gentlemen had a talk with Inspector Coyle since 10 o'clock tonight?
No. Why, Shayne?
Well, he wants to see you, both of you. There are new developments in the case.
What developments?
Well, you recall that I mentioned at Thorman's home I was going to have my memory jogged by Joey Peller?
Oh, yes. What about it?
Well, you, Mr. Hart, and Mr. Eppley, plus Redfern, who isn't present at the moment, overheard my statement.
Well, get to the point, Shayne. What are you driving at?
Murder, Mr. Hart. Joey Peller had his wonderful memory removed by a killer's surgery tonight.
Are you insinuating that any one of us had anything...
Keep your shirt on, Mr. Epperly. I insinuate nothing. I'm merely explaining why the inspector wants to talk with all of you and find out where you've all been hiding out this evening.
Hiding out? I'm not hiding out. I'll go where I please, when I please.
Could I fix you some coffee? It'll give me something to do, and perhaps by then Paul will be home.
Yes, that's a splendid idea, and I'll help if I may.
Well, please do. Come along.
Oh.
Now, look, gentlemen, let's check these facts quickly while the ladies are fixing the coffee. Thorman is a suicide, which I still don't believe. Joey Peller is stabbed. Now, we have information that Carlton Winters might be our man if he hadn't died in Chicago some years ago. But we're getting samples of his handwriting and police record. Perhaps it may count up to something.
But what good would anything be if Winters is dead?
No good at all if he's dead. And I'm not convinced of that.
Oh, no! Michael.
Yes?
Please, come quickly.
What's wrong, Phil?
Just come along, please, and alone.
Right. Wait here, gentlemen, please.
Michael, we started out through the hall to the kitchen, and here, right here on this hall table, was a note. Here's the note. Mrs. Redfern read it, and, well, you heard her reaction.
Where's she now?
She's sitting in the kitchen just staring. Read the note, Michael. You'll understand.
Estelle, darling, by the time you find this note, it will be too late to stop me. I've tried to fight... Oh, no.
Michael, this is terrible. She nodded yes when I asked her if this was her husband's handwriting.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Oh, I'll take that on this hall extension. Now, look, honey, go back to Mrs. Redfern and don't let anybody even try to talk to her.
Hurry up, Michael.
Okay. Hello?
Hello, that you, Shayne?
Oh, yes, Inspector.
Still want to talk to Paul Redfern?
And how I do?
Better forget it. His car went over Cliff Road into the canyon in flames.
What?
He's on a slab in the mall.
Oh, this is a fine mess now. His wife's hysterical. She just read his suicide note.
Not another one.
Yes, and just as phony as the judges. Look, Inspector, look. Tell the coroner to go over the body very carefully. I'll be right there.
Right. Hurry it up.
Phil, can I see you a minute?
Yes. I'll be right back, Mr. Redfern.
Now, listen. And listen fast, honey, and make it stick. Redfern's dead.
Oh, dear. Oh, Mike. Then he meant that note.
I don't know. I only know he's dead. He crashed his car. Now, I'm taking this note and sticking it at headquarters until we know as much as possible.
Well, what about her?
Honey, I want you to stay with her. Don't leave her for a minute, and don't tell her he's dead. I'll call you later or pick you up.
All right. But I think you should know this, Michael.
What?
I'm positive that note wasn't on the hall table when we came in.
Good work, honey. Good work. Our pigeon is in there in the drawing room.
Are they staying here?
Oh, no, sweetheart. No, I'm going to convince them to visit headquarters. Well, how did our guests take the stay here, Inspector?
Unhappily. But they were jittery enough to be gentlemen about it, especially since they found out Redfern is dead. They left about 5 minutes ago.
Oh. How about Winter's old samples of handwriting? Check with any of the ones on the signatures on my note?
Yeah, I just got the dope on that. The man says there's no question about it. We need more, though, Michael.
Yeah? Well, I think we can get it now.
Oh, hello, Doc.
Hiya.
Well, what's the verdict?
Well, I almost missed it. Something very thin punctured Redfern's eardrum. Went right into the brain, like a long steel sliver.
But, Doc, if it was a steel sliver, who got rid of it? You?
No. I couldn't find the sliver, so I decided it was maybe like a hat pin. Yeah, he was killed, all right.
He was plenty burned and cracked up.
So would you be if you fell 200 feet in a flaming car, but he was very dead before he hit.
No evidence of fire in the lungs, huh?
Not a scorch. He wasn't breathing when he crashed.
Then it's murder.
You've got your verdict, Inspector. Autopsy. Hello. Oh, yeah, just a minute. For you, Inspector.
Wait, sir. Inspector Coyle speaking. Yeah, Johnson? What did he say? That's really something. Good work. Stay with him. So long.
More from Peller?
Plenty. A bombshell. Estelle Redfern divorced Carlton Winters after he went to the pen and married Paul Redfern.
Oh, that's bad. Epperly and Hart have just been released, haven't they?
Well, we couldn't hold them.
Oh, that crazy woman withholding information. Inspector, she's in danger.
At 2:30 in the morning?
Look, if my guess is right, our man is on a killing spree. His schedule calls for crowding it all into one night.
Yeah, could be. Thorman, Peller, Redfern.
And next, and logically, the woman who divorced him and married the man that prosecuted him. Look, let me get going ahead of you and your men. Call Phil and have her set it up like this. We'll say...
You can't always predict the outcome of a mystery story, but here's something you can predict with absolute certainty. You can predict that your car will start quickly no matter how cold the weather if it has K-Site in the motor oil. It's a fact, folks. K-Site guarantees quick starting in winter weather or double your money back. And only a product that really gives satisfaction can afford to make that kind of an offer. Now just think. No more sitting out in the cold, struggling with a motor that refuses to go. K-Site retards congealing of oil, lets your motor spin over rapidly and start. And it reduces startup wear on your engine, and it saves your battery. Garages, service stations, and car dealers everywhere sell K-Site, only 65 cents a pint. Remember, K-Site guarantees quick starting in winter weather or double your money back. You can't lose. Get K-Site today and start every day. Now back to Michael Shayne and the trap set for a revenge-crazy killer. It's about 3:15 a.m. The huge Redfern mansion is wrapped in the eerie glow from a thin sliver of moon. In the shadows of the porch, two men moved softly, furtively.
Wait. Think it's right for us to snoop around Redfern's house like this, especially with Estelle so upset?
So relax, Eppley. It's only decent to see that she's all right. After all, you yourself were worried about her while we were held at headquarters.
Well, let's get it over and get out of here.
Yeah, come on. Here, let's try these French windows.
I still don't think this is a good idea. If we make a noise and waken Estelle, she'll be scared out of her wits.
If we find she's all right, we'll go out as quietly as we can. No, come on. Look, this window's unlocked.
That's not so good.
Oh. I'm beginning to believe that Shayne fellow now. There's a killer loose, Eppley.
Shall I turn on this light?
No lights. Keep it dark.
Now that we're in, what do we do?
First, go through the entire downstairs. You take the east wing, I'll take this west side.
What are we looking for?
We're making sure everything's all right. Check every door and window. See that they're locked. Go right through and I'll meet you in the back hall.
Yeah, simple enough.
If everything's all right downstairs, we'll check the upstairs. Then leave.
All right. But I still don't like the idea.
Take it easy. Don't fall over the furniture.
I won't guarantee it.
Now, to get upstairs quickly and arrange for Estelle's suicide while my perfect alibi searches downstairs. And now, my lovely Estelle, we settle accounts. And again. And so ends this night. Who turned on those lights?
All right, chum, the night has ended, and so are you.
Shayne!
Yeah. We didn't find out until after you left police headquarters tonight that Estelle was once the wife of Carlton Winters. So we figured Estelle was next on the list.
Oh, so you got it all figured out.
Do you think we intended to let you get Estelle? Oh, no. We preferred to have you kill off that dressmaker's mannequin under the bed covers.
Dressmaker's mannequin?
Drop that knife. Drop that knife, I said.
I'll kill you.
Drop it. Easy, you crazy idiot. I don't want to shoot you.
Stop it, Hart. I'll shoot.
Not until I...
Oh, thanks, Inspector.
Michael?
Thanks.
Michael.
Oh,
Michael, what's wrong?
not a thing, honey.
Huh?
Not a thing.
Michael.
Oh.
He's hurt, Inspector.
Easy, Phil, easy now. We'll take care of him.
Well, the invalid is back. Welcome home, darling.
Thanks. I never liked this office, but it sure looks awfully good now.
I'll bet. The inspector left this report for you. Copy.
Hmm? Well, Hart's deathbed confession, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's all here. You know, we could have stopped Redfern's killing if we had old samples of Winter's handwriting to match his signature on the note the committee sent to me.
Oh, you couldn't do any more, Michael.
Yeah, it only proves what I contend, darling. There's a flaw in every human being.
I'd say Winters or Hart was insanely perfect.
Almost, but not quite. You see, honey, when a man decides to change his identity, he must change everything, even his own handwriting.
Well, now that you think the office looks good, you might say, Precious, you look good.
Oh, well, Precious, you do look good. Very good.
Thank you, Michael.
You're welcome, darling.
You know, Michael, you ought to get stabbed more often.
Michael Shayne, Private Detective, stars Wally Mayer and Kathy Lewis, with Bill Johnstone as the inspector. Tonight's story was directed by Michael Raffetto, written by Alan Cameron, and based on the character created by Brett Halliday. The music was composed and played by Len Salvo. And this is Charles Arlington speaking.
Wilson speaking. What? Wonderful. Oh, fine. I'll pick her up this evening. Yippee! My new car just came in at the dealer's. You got any suggestions on breaking her in, Bill?
Only what a top-notch mechanic told me.
What's that?
Add K-Site to the motor oil.
That's sound advice for any new car owner, friends. K-Site carries oil to the tight spots and assures a smoother break-in. Remember this, no matter what kind of motor oil you're using, you will get better and smoother motor performance when you add K-Site. This program came to you from Hollywood. Stay tuned to this station for the adventures of the Falcon. It immediately follows station identification. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.